My name is Joe O'Brien, better known as JJ. I'm a veteran of World War II, member Post 1, American Legion Post Lakeshore 137 in Jacksonville, Florida. My service time consisted of 3 years in the Army Air Corps. I spent 1 year in the States, 2 years overseas in China, Burma, and India. I was a photographer working on aerial maps. That was my job. I have been a member of the American Legion about 47 years. Could have been longer, but when I first came home, it wasn't that important to join, so I just didn't. Went back to work, raised a family, got in, and the family come along, then I did join the Legion because some of the advantages it had for everybody. And I've been hopefully a loyal member ever since then. I wasn't real active to start off with, but then I got involved with the color guard. And I was going to be a little active. Well, there's no such thing as a little active in the color guard. You're really active. So over the years, we competed with competition various times. Several years after we started, we won the national championship, 1985, which was a great honor. And I think it's the first time that Florida probably had ever won the national championship. And we've been active ever since then. We do a lot of funerals for veterans. Some we know, some we don't. It makes no difference. As long as they're an honorable discharged veteran of the military, we do it. In fact, we have done several recently out at the Jacksonville National Cemetery. And for people that we don't even know, but they are veterans, it's the last thing we can do for them, so we try to do it right. After quite a few years later, we were working with the railroad, and they started a CBI veterans organization in the state. We found out about it locally. So happened that two other guys I worked with had also served in China, Burma. We had worked together for 20 years, didn't even know it. Nobody talked about it. So I ran an ad in the paper, got all the different people who was involved to report. We had a meeting. The state gave us a charter. We started from about 7 or 8 charter members. And at one time we had around 40 some odd members. Of course, over the years, our membership has dwindled. The organization is now dissolved. We get together occasionally, a few of us that left, but informally. The American Legion means a lot to me because it represents America. What we fought and a lot of our people died for. And that's the real heroes. That's the ones that really were heroes because they didn't make it back. And there was a lot of them. Because during World War II, I understand there was over about 16 million in the armed forces. And every day, I understand now, there's about between 500 and 800 a day are dying out now. It's World War II veterans. So it's getting less and less of us all the time. But that's what it means to me, the flag. It represents everything that I stand for. And to see people sit out here in the streets and tear it up and burn it and this and that, it makes me mad. But that's all we can do about it. We can't fight with them, so we have to. But one of these days it'll be accepted that they can't do that. I'm also a member of the 40 and 8 organization, which is a veterans organization, which actually was organized right after World War I. The 40 and 8 emblem, and it stands for the French boxcar, which carried 40 men or 8 horses. That was the size of the car. So they adopted that as a name. And originally, it started off as the Honor Society of the American Legion. You had to be a member of the American Legion, prove you were worthy of the cause, then be invited to join the 40 and 8. And I have been a member now of the 40 and 8 for about 27 years, I think so. And we also have a color guard, the 40 and 8, which I head up. So at one time I actually headed up 3 color guards: CBI color guard, the American Legion color guard, and the 40 and 8 color guard. So we had a parade. I had to pick out which uniform to wear. But that was no big deal. We could always work it out. Well, the importance of having a color guard is various things. It, for instance, for instance, like a Veterans Day parade. And Veterans Day, of course, to me it always was important because that's my birthday. So that's the reason they had the parade. But anyway, getting back to the facts, I have marched in a lot of the parades. And when I got a little too old to march, we rode in a lot of them. And our color guard, it's a parade, we're a color guard. But at a funeral, we act as an honor guard. And really no difference except in what you do, and you handle it differently. But still, it means a lot. And we represent the Legion, we represent the armed forces, because a lot of times the armed forces are not available for veterans' funerals. In that case, then we try to step in and furnish the last rites for the people that deserve it. During the war, most of the forces where we were over in Burma was all British. I say all British, there was some Americans, but most of the air power was American, but the ground forces were mostly British. So after the war, they formed what they call the Burma Star Association in England. So anybody who served with them could join their organization, and we let them join our CBI organization. So I'm a lifetime member of the Burma Star. And every so often, I just the other day got a publication from London about it. I'm still a member of it. So they're still in existence, which the CBI has dissolved now. Our color guard got involved with to start off with the Special Olympics. And we went out and did the colors for the Special Olympics. So they actually wanted us to do some clowning also. So we, the color guard, we do the honors, open it up, then we go change clothes, put on our clown outfits, and we would go out and clown around with the kids. And then later, when we went to the National Convention of the 40 and 8, they organized a National Hobos of America Club. I'm a charter member of that. last month, I think it was, we had an internment for ashes of veterans. Some had been sitting on shelves in these funeral homes for years. It could have been that they were old, in a nursing home, had nobody to check it out, so once they were cremated, they weren't even interned. So we have a committee at our post that checks out all this stuff. And once they get it certified, it goes through the veterans organization and all of this, everything is legal. Then they have an interment ceremony. And at this last month, we had, I think it was 12 they interred out at the National Cemetery. And I was honored to have part of it, to take part in it, and carried one of the urns over to the burial site and did it. And now this was the first time we did it here. It will be repeated again not too long because they've got some more they have identified. But some of the veterans, there was one veteran, they understand it from the Civil War, that ashes that were returned. The Jacksonville National Cemetery opened, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I'm not sure. It is growing by leaps and bounds. Every day, Monday through Friday, they have, every half hour, they have a funeral there. And it is, before that, the closest one we had here was at Bushnell. We went down there for several times, but that was a long trip. But this one out here, in fact, just this past week, we did a funeral out there also from a veteran. Normally what our honor guard does at that time, we stand there in respect, and then after the service is over, we step forward, we take the flag off the casket, fold it into a triangle, and present it to the next of kin. Then at that point we have taps. Most of the family, in most cases lately, I have been the one presenting the flag. And that's what gets me. No matter how many times you do it, once you present the flag and have taps, at that time, if the family is held up, that's the time the tears start coming. And I'm standing right there in front of them, and I see it. And it gets you. It does every time.